Alright guys, so in this video we're going to put the roof sheathing on right there. It's going to be pretty easy, pretty simple. Might download one item from the warehouse and just trim our boards out. Alright, so let's get started. Go ahead, grab your rectangle tool, draw out a sheet of plywood, right? So I'm just going to make a normal sheet, have it on the blue axis. So I'm going to do 8 feet, 4 feet. Enter. I'm going to pull it up 1.5 inches, make it a little thick. And then I need to triple click it where it's all highlighted. If I rotate around, I can see it's all highlighted. Right click on it and make it a group. So there we have a sheet of plywood. You can color it. I'm going to leave it this color right now because I'm going to end up making it my roof color once I get it up there. Now, our roof we made at 35-degree pitch. So we need to put this at a 35-degree pitch. So go ahead and grab your rotating tool. You're going to want it to be on red or green depending on what axis you're on. I want mine to be on red. I'm going to take it, put it on my bottom corner of my sheet of plywood, drag it out along that straight line, and click anywhere on that straight line. Then I'm going to lift up. Once I start to lift, I just take my hand off my mouse, type in 35. You can see that appear near the bottom of the screen. Hit enter, and bam. It's at a 35-degree angle. So this does seem a little bit thick to me, a little bit thicker than I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the group. I'm going to click on my push pull. I'm going to push it down, and let's say I'm going to push it down 0.5 inch, half an inch. All right, so I'm going to lose that much. Grab my selector tool, and all I'm going to do now is move it over. So here's a little tip we haven't really gone over in this class, but I would like for you guys to be able to learn how to utilize. When you're moving something, you get your move tool. Okay? I want you to click on the lower corner of your item, or whatever corner is going to be touching. Okay, click on it, then you zoom out and push it towards the corner that you want it to go on. Right? If I put it right there on the corner, it's going to automatically try and go next to a corner, a point to a point. So when I zoom in now, even from doing it at that distance, zoom in on my point, you can see even from that distance, I was able to get it on. I was able to get it on that board, have it lined up. So even as I rotate through, I can see that my corner is perfectly lined. Now, we've put this sheet of plywood on, and you might say, Mr. Brand, is too small. And yes, it's too small. And remember, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can put the plywood on a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and you can plywood it, and then you can put your roofing material on. But just to make it simple, I'm only going to do 1 sheet, and then I'm going to cover it. Right? Over here, if you look at this roof, you can see I have my plywood right there, and I have another piece of plywood right there, and then I have my roofing material on the top. And if we rotate underneath, you can actually see where my plywood cuts are at. Right. So rotate underneath, you can see my piece of plywood right here. This is a smaller piece. This is a 4x8 piece that's sitting on my rafters, and these are 2 pieces that the seam is right over here. Right, and I had to cut them at the ridge. So mine, though, for you guys, this is what I would encourage, is that you simply come over here and you stretch it. You pull it up to your points. Okay. So let's come over here. We'll get our push-pull tool once we rotate around. Actually get our selector tool. We'll select into it. We're going to pull it up all the way to our ridge. This is our ridge beam that we put in that our rafters are connected to, and we're going to pull this all the way up to our ridge. So let's go ahead and grab our push-pull tool, click on that side piece, and drag it up. Now if you go a little bit higher, that's perfectly fine. I'll show you why in a minute. Let's rotate around to this other side and click on this side and pull it out. Now the nice thing is if you take it and you put it on the rake fascia right here, it will match it. It says on outside active, on face outside active. You click right there, now it's perfectly in line with your fascia. Okay. So we have our nice roof area. One more thing I'm going to do is right over here, while I'm in the editing, I want to draw this line straight up. So I'm going to get my pen. I'm going to zoom in right here, make sure I'm on the piece I want selected, right? Let's click into this so we know we're editing that. When you see those dots, you know you're editing it. Click here and continue straight up. Now when you see this go dotted and this go white, or vice versa, you know that you've done it correctly from side to side. You can now get your push-pull tool and push this part away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my push-pull, I'm going to rotate to get a little bit better angle. Grab the hand tool, rotate over here, all right? Get a little bit better angle to be able to push this away in about one solid swoop. Okay. Grab my push-pull tool, come over here, click on that piece that I just clicked, and push it away. Alright, so now it's gone. I have a nice straight line. Because what I can end up doing is I can bring this side, I can edit this side, bring it up, and I'll have a nice straight point right there. And this side, I'll just select into it. I'll come over, grab my paint can, my paint bucket. You could hit B as a hotkey for it. I'll want to come over and I will paint it. Once my painting colors come up, I'll open up the magnifying glass, which categorizes them all. Go down to my roofing material, open that up, and I can select what I want my roof to look like based on their generic roof details. So this is what I chose for the other side. I'll go ahead and click on it, grab my paint bucket, and paint. And it's now that color. So once I move my other side, if I select this side, and I push-pull it up, I go into it, push-pull it up. I can minimize that side window because I don't need it anymore. Push-pull it all the way to at least right there. Grab my line tool, zoom in to make sure you're actually on it. Come straight down or to your point. See how it wants to go to that point? I don't want it to go there. I want it to come to at least here. Now you see it didn't select, and there's a good reason for that, is I hadn't actually selected into it, but it did still edit it and work. So let's see if I can push and pull it away from this other angle. Push and pull away until it's gone. It's a little bit more, there you go, it says on outside activity line, bam. Now you can see when you zoom in, you can see that detail error right there, but that's alright. This doesn't have to be perfect. When you look at it from here, it looks much more complete. So you now have your roof completed. You now have your roof completed. We'll zoom out of this building. Always go slower when you're inside the building, so if you're stuck in it, zoom out. Grab my hand, come back over to here. So let's go ahead, let's grab a door. I would recommend you grab a door with a door frame on it. So you'll come over to these 3 blocks, type door. Once you do that, you'll search for the door you want. Now, they will have different pages, page 1 out of 5,000. There's a lot of pages to go through. You could keep clicking through. If you know a little bit more of what you want out of your door, you can click door with window, door with something else, right? So you can do door, window. And don't just click any door. You want to make sure you get a door with a door frame. Now you may not know if it has a door frame until you actually click and download it. So let's click this, and you can see that bar went across, it downloaded. Now I have this door, and it does look like it is with a door frame. It also has a person with it. I don't really need that person, but I can delete them by just selecting them and deleting them. Right? If I go into edit, select, delete. So I can look at my door, I can rotate it around. Let's go ahead and rotate this door. Grab my rotating tool. I want it to be on a blue bottom point. Click it, drag it in a straight line, make sure I'm on the red axis, turn it until it goes to the green axis right there. Now it's lined up perfectly with that wall. I can pick up that door and move it anywhere. Perhaps you got a door and it's too big, but that's the door you want. What do you do then? Here's what you should do if you need to scale your door down or up. You'll select into it. You'll come over and find your scaling tool, this one right here. Now, once you click on it, it'll have these dots pop up. If you grab a side dot, it's just going to make it longer and not actually scale it properly. So as an example, I can do this and it makes my door look funny and deformed, and it's not necessarily what I want. If you need to make it, if you want to keep it proportioned like that, but just make it smaller or bigger, you grab the middle corner and you're going to push and pull out. And it will try and keep it all configured correctly. Remember, if you want to undo something, just Control Z. If you need to make it longer, now that looks really weird. I wouldn't want to install that, so I put it back. So I'm going to come get my selector tool. I'm going to move this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around here. I'm going to grab my movement tool. I'm going to click on a bottom corner, the front bottom corner, and I'm going to move it to right here. Once I do that, I want to line it up with one of my studs on the side because I'm going to have to make my studs disappear. So I'll come over here. I'll also need to make my floor joist or my bottom plate disappear. Grab this corner, move it right here. You can butt it up to the board. Typically a door is butted up to or just almost to a stud. You could leave a 1/4 of an inch or a little gap right there because you would, if you were building a house, you'd have to square out the door, and that's what you would use to do it. You could put a 2x4 across right here, 2x6, to go ahead and make a header for it. And you'd also end up putting a stud right here next to the door frame. So you could take this one and copy it if you like. Grab a movement tool, which actually it would copy, because I made it into one group, it would copy that individual or that whole wall if I hit copy. So I would need to, you can already see I grabbed it, right? Come over here, click into it, edit it, movement tool. I'm going to click on it and tap Control and make my copy. And it made my whole wall again. So I probably just want to recreate my stud. Put a stud next to it. But if you don't want to do that, you can drag it and you can delete each part of the wall. I do not want to do that, so I'll delete that extra wall that I just created. If you accidentally delete your wall, just hit Control Z and it will come back. And I need to delete this extra wall right here. There we go. So you also right here, because this is a wall, you can't just get rid of this. So if you put a 2x4 going across right here and a 2x4 coming down right here, then what you need to do is you have your header, but you're going to have to cut these at height. So you need to actually click into them. Remember, you can't edit it if it's not dotted. Where you need to click into it. And right where that stud is, that's where you're going to make your mark. Now, if you're adding a 2x4, then you probably want to just go up about 2 inches. Edit right there. You can grab your push-pull tool at that time. You need to go into editing. All right, you can see, draw that line, because I'll throw a 2x4 up here later. Grab my push-pull tool and push this back part away. Right? There we go. Now that didn't work out so well for me, so I'm going to just Control Z that. I'm going to rotate a little bit. It actually got rid of my original mark on there, so I need to redraw that line. You can see it, but that's another edit. Push-pull and push it away. And I'd put a 2x4 or 2x6 going across. I could raise it up if I need to make it higher, raise it down. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one over here.